I've been buying EcoFlow power stations for many years now, and I've been able to test pretty much every single unit that they've released. Between buying my own and having some units sent out, I've had first-hand experience knowing what each one is capable of doing, and I want to let you know my overall opinion of EcoFlow and if you should consider using EcoFlow for your emergency backup power needs. Now, in my opinion, EcoFlow is by far the biggest brand when it comes to solar generators. It used to be Goal Zero and Jackery. They were everywhere. But I really think that Goal Zero and Jackery missed the ball. First of all, Goal Zero didn't optimize fast enough for lithium batteries. Because of that, when the Point Zero Energy Titan came out, it pretty much dominated the industry for a time. And then Jackery came out with a huge marketing plan with their Explorer line showing these very portable, easy to use systems. But their issue is that you have to use proprietary panels. There's some adapters you can use to get normal panels to work, like this one up here, but you don't get as good of solar input. People really started to catch on to that, and that's where EcoFlow really began to shine, is when they released the EcoFlow Delta Pro. Now, the Delta Pro was the first unit that came to market that was capable of putting two units together and getting split phase power, and that was the game changer. That revolutionized the entire solar generator industry. But are they still the top company to consider for backup power? And they've had newer versions of the Delta Pro, such as the Delta Pro 3, the Delta Pro Ultra, and they have other series such as their Delta Max. This is the Delta 2 Max, and I have the Delta 3 Plus that constantly runs and backs up my 3D printing rig here in my office. So you can see here I have my X1 Carbon from Bamboo Labs. This is my favorite 3D printer. There's my old 3D printer. And then right down here, next to some of my bug out equipment, I have the Delta 3 Plus. I use this as a backup for my 3D prints because if I have a power outage where I don't have any backup battery, I don't want to lose my print. It can take hours or even days to get 3D prints. So I keep this at a 70% charge for optimal battery health. Normally for my power stations, I leave them at 100%, but because this one's mostly being used as a UPS, which is just an uninterrupted power supply, I'm trying to keep the battery in optimal condition. My River 2 is one of my go-to power stations when I just need a little bit of power on the go because this thing is super light. And all I do is I use the XT60 plug here on the back to a car charger. So I'll take this with me on long road trips, and that allows me to have a buffer between the car charging port and my laptop. Oftentimes when I'm traveling for work, I'll have someone else drive and then I'll be working on my laptop, catching up on emails or videos or whatever it is. And if you want to reach out to me or find out what kits I recommend for backup power, then email me at info@poweredportablesolar.com or visit my website, poweredportablesolar.com. So EcoFlow has been really good at innovating, and their lines are pretty straightforward. They basically have their River series, their Max series, and their Pro series. Rivers are teeny tiny portable systems like this. Max are portable, but not ultra lightweight like these. These are easy to move around and have a decent amount of output power and a decent amount of battery capacity. They also have really good solar input and battery expandability, which are all very important in my opinion for emergency preparedness expansion. But if you just want something that's gonna run your whole house, then you wanna look at the Pro series. That's gonna be the Delta Pro 3 and the Delta Pro Ultra. So they've really built products around three different categories. The first being ultralight minimal power. The second being portable and powerful. And the third being not very portable at all, but extremely powerful. Now, one of the first systems that I bought is I paid with my own money. I bought 2 Delta Pros and 4 expansion batteries. That was the biggest setup you could get from EcoFlow. So that was about 21.6 kilowatt hours of battery capacity, 7.2 kilowatts of output, and that could run my entire house in split phase power. Split phase simply means that you can run power to your whole house because your house has 2 phases in it. It has leg 1 and leg 2. And if you look at your electrical panel and you remove all of the breakers, you'll see metal bus bars that actually interlock like this. And one of them is leg 1 and the other one is leg 2. Each one of them have 120 volt power. But we use 240 volt power commonly to run things like well pumps, electric dryers, electric ovens, air conditioning, heat, all those kinds of things, especially like a water heater that uses electricity for heat. And so in order to have enough power to send to those appliances, you have to be touching both legs, basically 1 point on each leg, and that's how you get 240 split phase power. So even if you don't have any 240 volt appliances, but you have breakers on every row of your electrical panel, you have to have split phase power. Well, technically you just need to have 2 legs of 120 volt power, But realistically, it should be split phase. That way, if there's a 240 volt appliance, you don't burn it out. Because if you don't do that properly, you will damage your 240 volt appliance. I also use that system in my RV. I have videos showing me camping for 9 days straight using the Delta Pros in order to keep my entire RV up and running. So it's cool to be able to take them camping and use at home for backup power. I didn't just invest money into a home system and then have nothing for my RV. But what about the reliability? I would say that in my experience with EcoFlow, and this has been well documented in my videos here on the channel, that my EcoFlow units have been reliable. That said, on my Delta Pros that I had, I did have to send them in order to get them replaced because I did a firmware update and then they stopped working. But that's the thing, they took care of me. I did not tell them I was a YouTuber. I did not let them know of my channel. I didn't tell them any of that. I just said, I purchased my equipment and it had this failure and I need it fixed. And they literally just sent me shipping labels, boxed those up, sent the old ones back, and then they sent me new ones. So that's amazing customer service. Every single time I have called EcoFlow, I have been able to get a hold of someone and get my questions answered. But how does that make me feel about having to have my Delta Pros replaced? In the end, I was okay with it because they took care of me. But then the Delta Pro Ultra came out. And of course they know my channel, so they were willing to send out a Delta Pro Ultra before it was ever even announced in order for me to test it. They did this with lots of YouTubers. You've probably watched their channels as well. And that's really just the beta testing. You can't say that that system is fully fledged, worked out, all the bugs, and it's ready to go. So my test unit did have an inverter failure and I had to ship it back and get a new one. So that was unfortunate, but understandable because it was a test unit. But then I had a production unit and that one had a failure. Keep in mind, this is still brand new right when the Delta Pro Ultra came out. So they were still working out a few bugs. They got that replaced, and since then, which has now been about a year, I've not had any issues with my Delta Pro Ultra. But it's like when you have an engine failure in your car. Whatever your car is, if you have a major problem that costs you a lot of money to repair, you simply don't trust it as much, even though it has a really good track record now. So my experience with EcoFlow has been the first iteration of the units, they may have bugs, but if they have bugs, they're going to take care of you 100%. They have every time with me. And keep in mind, that's not just because of my YouTube channel. I didn't originally let them know about my channel when I needed replacements. But then that brings us to the Delta Pro 3. The Delta Pro 3 is actually really interesting because they went from the Delta Pro to the Delta Pro 3. There was no Delta Pro 2. They just skipped it. They're like, we already know what we want way into the future. Here it is, there you go. And that is by far one of my favorite portable systems. And I've had that also for about a year and I've not had any problems with it. No issues whatsoever. And that was sent out to me before they launched it. And when people buy their systems from poweredportablesolar.com, they get extra discounts that you wouldn't otherwise normally get when you get everything as a kit. So you get everything you need all in one spot. And you get it at a better discount than if you were to buy it all separately elsewhere. And I will have to say that of all the customers that we've had, especially who have bought the Delta Pro 3 kits, we have not had a single complaint from a single customer say that they need a replacement or a warranty claim on their Delta Pro 3. So they really, really hit it out of the park with the Delta Pro 3, in my opinion, in terms of reliability. So I would definitely take a look at that. But also, I truly think that they've worked out all of the kinks of the Delta Pro Ultra. And so because of that, I do believe that they are a very good system to go with. But in this case with EcoFlow, I do believe that they stand behind their warranty and behind their products, because besides the Delta Pro Ultra and the Delta Pro, I've not had any issues with my unit. But to bring it all back to the original point, yes, I do think EcoFlow is a good brand. I trust them and I've given them my money. I've bought their Delta Pros, the expansion batteries, the Max units. I've purchased multiple units from them and I felt totally good about it. So this is not a paid video. I've not been paid to tell you anything. I've not received any product for this video, anything like that. I just wanted to let you guys know my opinion on EcoFlow. I also did another video on Bluetti and my opinion on them. And I'm gonna put that video right up here. So if you wanna check that out and you can kind of see the comparisons of what I've said between EcoFlow and Bluetti, definitely check that out. But if you just wanna know what kits are gonna be the most affordable and the ones I personally use and recommend, go to poweredportablesolar.com and email me if you have any questions. Thanks guys, be prepared. See y'all in the next video.